Join me as I dive into the creepiest real-life horror stories that inspired scary movies, and I'll see if I can handle watching them all in one night. One of these things that makes scary movies so terrifying is the fact that some of them are based on real-life events. There's something about knowing that what you're watching could have actually happened that makes it feel all too real. There's a certain level of unease that comes with watching a horror movie that's rooted in reality. It's like we've all heard the phrase, based on a true story, but when you really think about it, it's a lot more unsettling than we give it credit for. I mean, these are real people, real events, and real horror stories that have been adapted for our entertainment. It's like, where do we draw the line between fiction and reality? And what's even scarier is that sometimes the line gets blurred and we're left wondering what's real and what's not. Take, for example, movies like The Conjuring or the Amityville Horror. These are films that are based on real people and real events, and they're presented in a way that's meant to entertain us. But at the same time, we're watching these stories unfold, knowing that they're rooted in reality. It's a weird feeling because on one hand we're enjoying the thrill and the scare, but on the other hand we're also acknowledging that this could have actually happened to someone. But what makes these films even more unsettling is the fact that they're often watered down for our consumption. I mean, think about it. Real-life horror stories are often way more graphic and disturbing than what we see on screen. So we're watching these movies, we're getting a filtered version of the truth, and that's what makes it even more terrifying. One of the most famous examples of this is The Exorcist. Now, I know what you're thinking, The Exorcist is a classic horror movie, but did you know that it's based on real-life events? The story is actually inspired by a boy named ROLAND, who was allegedly possessed by a demon in 1949. The real-life events were way more disturbing than what we see in the movie, and it's only when you dig deeper that you realise just how scary the truth really is. Another example is The Strangers, which is based on a series of real-life home invasions that happened in the 60s and 70s. The film is actually inspired by the Manson family murders, and it's a really creepy thought to think that these events could have actually happened to someone. But one of the most shocking true stories behind a horror movie is the Dyatlov Pass incident. In 1959, 9 Russian hikers embarked on an expedition to the Ural Mountains, but they never returned. Their bodies were found months later, and it was clear that they had died under some really strange circumstances. The incident became known as the Dyatlov Pass incident, and is still shrouded in mystery to this day. The incident is so creepy because of the way the bodies were found. They were all found with internal injuries, but there were no signs of external trauma. It was like they'd all died from some kind of internal force, but there was no explanation as to what caused it. The investigation into the incident was shut down, and it remains one of the most bizarre and unexplained events in history. As I was researching the Dyatlov Pass incident, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. I mean, these were real people who died under some very strange circumstances, and we still don't know what happened to them. It's a reminder that sometimes the truth can be way scarier than fiction. So let's recap some of the key films we've discussed today, along with their real-life counterparts. From The Exorcist to The Strangers, these films are all based on real-life horror stories that will leave you sleeping with the lights on. Thanks for watching, and if you have a favourite scary movie based on a true story, let me know in the comments below. And be sure to check out my other videos on horror films. The links are in the description box.